everybody, welcome back to My Practically Imperfect Life. Today I want to talk to you more about high school transcripts if you're a homeschooling family. Now, I have done a video in the past where I talked a bit about what it is that you need to include in a homeschool transcript, and I provided some resources for places where you can either get a transcript created for you or you can download a template, and kind of went over the basics there. But I have had a lot of questions come in on how to kind of create your own, what is it that you're going to be actually typing in? What do ours look like? And so today I wanted to show you a couple of new things regarding transcripts. So first of all, I have the philosophy that if I feel like I can create something or do something on my own without having to pay somebody to do it, I'm going to do it. So I am going to walk you through how I made our transcripts on Microsoft Word. I'll take you through the steps that I did, how I formatted it, how I edit it, and it's something that you can probably easily do at home if you have basic Microsoft Word experience. And then I'll show you some examples of what our transcripts look like. Now, I will have taken out the grades on all of those, of course, just to protect my children's privacy, but I will show you all of the courses that we did, how I titled them on the transcript, and then what I assigned in terms of credit on those. So I'll give you both of those things. Now I'll put some timestamps down below. So if you want to watch the tutorial on how I created it, you can go to that section of the video. If you are just interested in seeing what our transcripts look like, you can go to that section of the video and check that out as well. But let's jump right on in and get started with creating a homeschool transcript. So I like to use Microsoft Word just simply because it has so many different features to it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is go up here and I'm going to customize the margins and make all of them 1/2 inch just to make everything fit on one page. I really don't need full 1-inch margins on here for the purpose of a transcript. So I'm going to change those to 1/2 inch. And then up top, I'm going to go ahead and put the name of my homeschool. I'm going to make the font just a little bit bigger and bold, and I'm going to type in Merritt's Academy, and then underneath that, I'm going to unbold it, make the print a little smaller, and I'm going to put in that it's the official high school transcript, get that typed in, and then underneath, I am including the 9th grade start date. This is something that the NCAA requires on transcripts that are sent to them. You might not need it if your student's not planning on playing NCAA sports, but I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to put in an estimated graduation date. Now, I don't know the exact dates yet, but, let's guess for right now. Then I'm going to go ahead and enter down, and I'm going to make a school of record and student information column. So I'm actually going to, on each line, I'll put in school of record, then I tabbed over a little bit and put student information. I'm going to put in the name of the homeschool, tab over, put in the name of the student. Then I'm going to go down, put in the address for the homeschool and the student, which, should be the same. I'm just going to put in some fake information here for the purposes of this. And then a phone number. Now, you could put your phone number under the school and a student's phone number under the student, or you could put the same for both. And then I'm going to put in the email address for both the school and the student. So I'm putting in my email address under the school of record, and then I'm going to put in my student's email address under the student information. Now you'll notice on Microsoft Office, it will automatically add a hyperlink for these. You can simply click the little lightning bolt that shows up when you hover over it, and you can say remove hyperlink, and it will take away the blue and the underline there. So I have that, and then student information, I need a few other pieces. I have to put in their date of birth. I'm just going to put in a fake birthday here. And then I need to include the parents' or guardians' names. So I'll have all of that information put in here, and that is all I need to include for school of record and student information. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to return down to the next line here. I'm going to be inserting some tables, and what I'm going to do is show you kind of how I format them. Now it's going to look funky for a minute till we get all of the information in, and then we'll show you how I arrange it on the page to make it all fit. So I'm going to be going up and I'm going to be inserting some tables here. Now, if your student took credits in 8th grade, you're going to want to make sure you have a box for 8th grade grades. If not, you just have 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So I'm going to assume that the student took some 8th grade credits, and I'm going to do a table that's, I'm just going to go ahead and say like 3 by 5 to start with. And that's going to insert it in there. Now, I'm not going to be leaving it like this. So just kind of, again, bear with me here as we get some things formatted. So up here, I'm going to title this. I'm going to put in course study, and I'm going to put in grade 8. Then I'm going to put in grade, and then I'm going to put in credits. Now I want to center these ones, and I want to center the information underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight these boxes here. And up here under home, I'm going to center align them. So now I'm going to go ahead and I want to make these bold on top here. So I'm going to highlight all of them and I'm going to make them bold print. And then I want to add some color variation on here to just make it a little bit easier to read. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight this top row here and go to table design. And here where it says shading, you can click on it and you can pick whatever shades you want to do. I just want to use some different grays. I think that will look fine. So I'm going to just pick a darker gray and then a slightly lighter gray on here. Now I don't want this to be this wide because I want to have 2 columns on my transcript. So I can adjust the width here by taking this little box in the corner and just kind of dragging it to start getting a rough idea on how wide I want this to be. The other thing is that I don't really want them to be this big. I don't want all of the cells to be this big. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting in some general information. So just course 2 and course 3. And I want to start by making all of the type a little bit smaller and then getting the spacing the same on all of these columns. So I'm going to highlight all of it. I'm going to change the font size to 8. And don't worry, it's plenty easy to read when you print it out. Now to get these columns all the same height, if I go back to layout on top here, I can change the height to whatever I want it to be. Now I've played around with it a bit and I have found that 0.17 works out great when you're using a size 8 font. So by just clicking that into height, boom, all of them are the exact same height on there. And then as far as how big I want each of the columns to be, what I can do is I can click and select one column, and you'll see here it shows the width of that column. I'm going to go ahead and change the width of that column. Again, this is kind of based on what I've found as far as playing around with the design. So I'm going to make it 1.92 wide for the course description. That's going to give me plenty of space to type in like the full name of a course. And then the grade one, I'm going to make that one a little bit smaller. I'm going to go with 1.74. And then credits, I am going to do 0.78. So there we go. Now I've got course study, what grade it's for, the grade earned, the credits earned, list of courses. Now, why didn't I put anything at the bottom? Well, that's where I'm going to put the GPA, the cumulative GPA for the year, and then the number of credits total earned for that year. So what I want to do is I want to merge these 2 bottom cells together here. So I'm going to highlight those 2, and there are 2 different ways you can merge. You could right-click and select merge cells, or you could have them both selected, and you could go here to layout and click merge cells as well. So it combines those 2 together. And then in that box, I am going to type GPA equals, and that's where I would put what the GPA is for that year. Now what I need to do is I need to create something like this for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this whole box. So I'm going to select it all, right click, and go to copy. And I am going to return down. Now, it's important if you're going to return down that you are on the page, not right next to the table. Because if I'm right here next to the table and I click return, it adds another row, which I don't want to do. So I want to make sure I've got my mouse down below it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste. And then I'm going to paste again, and paste again, and paste again. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to change this to grade 9. Grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. So I've got those initial things kind of done there. Now I can go back in and I can add in courses, however many I need to. It's really easy to add another row. So you can go to, any row on here, select that row, right click and go to insert, add a row below, and it's going to add a matching row below that. So I can adjust these based on how many courses my student is going to take in that year, or if I want to do a set number, like let's say I wanted to plan for 6 courses a year, I could put in 6 lines. But now underneath this, so I've got those all in here. I want to do something where I have a summary by grade. So what was the cumulative GPA for each grade? What was the total number of credits earned? Kind of like a quick look at, hey, how did they do on a particular year? So I'm going to insert another table here. And this one, I'm going to need to have it be 6 across and 4 down. And again, we're going to be changing the sizing and all of that of this. So I'm going to go ahead and click this little box. I'm going to drag this over till it's the same width as those other ones that I was working on. So for formatting, I'm going to highlight this entire top row, merge them together, and put in the title Summary by Grade. And then I will go ahead and I will boldface that. Then I'm going to label my columns. So I have grades where I'm going to put in grades 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Again, if you're not doing 8th grade, high school courses in 8th grade, you won't need that. Then I'll have cumulative GPA and credits earned. I'm going to shrink all of the font down to a size 8. And then I'm going to adjust the width of this first column so everything's on one line. So just stretching it out there. Now the rest of these columns aren't the same width. So to fix that, I'm going to highlight these ones and go up to Layout. And then I'm going to distribute the columns, and that's going to make all of the columns the same width. Then I can go in and I can get these centered because I want it center aligned. So highlight again, center alignment. Then like before, I'm going to go ahead and fix it so all of the heights are the same, selecting them, changing the height to 0.17, and add in the shading like I did with the previous tables. Now I'm going to click down again, and now I'm going to do one that's a cumulative summary. So total credits for the entire high school year, GPA credits, GPA points, GPA. So I'm going to add in another table here. And this one is going to be 3 down and 4 across. So then we're just repeating the same process over again. We're merging the top row and adding in a title. So this is cumulative summary. Going to type in our total credits, GPA points, and GPA. The difference here with the GPA credits is if you had something that was a pass-fail course, the credit for that wouldn't impact the GPA. So that's what that column is for, is if you had courses that were not a part of the GPA calculation. But I'm going to boldface things, center align them, shrink down the box, and then add in the shading, adjust the height. So basically all of the same things that we did at the previous tables, we're going to repeat here yet again, so that way it all matches. So I'm going to go ahead and return down a few times so I can put the next table on the second page. Again, it'll all end up on the one page when we're all done. But I'm going to add in a grading scale next. And I've seen people do grading scales different ways. I'm going to show you 2 common ways. First of all, if you just have, say, like A, B, C, D, F, so maybe 90 to 100 is an A, you could do one that looks similar to this. So you would type in grading scale and then the range and then put A underneath it. And then you'd go on and so forth for B, C, D, and F. But our grading scale is a little bit different. So I have ranges for A+, A-, so on and so forth. So I need some additional information and a change in how I do the columns. So I'm going 4 across for mine. And again, I'm going to merge, type in grading scale, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the whole range in here from A+, A-, all the way down to an F. What would be the range for each of those? So I'm just going to get those typed in here, and then we'll skip ahead a second. So just like I did with all of the other tables that I've done, I went ahead and I adjusted the size down so it's the same width as these ones here, and then I selected them all and I made sure that the height of all of the columns was the same. So that's my grading scale, and I'm going to go down again. Now you may want to include a commentary section on your transcript. This would be where you could denote things like courses marked with an asterisk are community college courses or dual enrollment courses. So if you want to do a table for notes, you can do that as well. I'm just going to do a 1x2 table. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make these the same width as all of my other tables are, which I have them at 3.43. So it makes them the same width there. I'm going to make the height on this the same initially. And I'm going to title that as commentary. I'm going to bold that one. And then this bottom one, I can end up adjusting the height on, you know, in order to fit different things. To adjust the height of just one, you just make sure that you have that highlighted. You see where the little arrows and bars are. I can stretch that down to make that a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to type something random in there. So I'm just going to say dual enrollment course. You know, I could type in whatever it is that I want on there. And I'm going to make that all size 8 as well. Okay, so there is the commentary portion. And then the last thing I want is somewhere where I can put my authorized signature, because as the administrator of the homeschool, I need to sign a transcript when I go to send it into a college. That's how it, you know, it shows that it's official. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in something for that. I'm going to do a 2x2 table here. Okay, so I have my 2x2. I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down so it's the same size as all of the other columns. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these top two together, because that's where I will physically sign it. And underneath there, I'm going to put that it's an authorized signature. And over here, I'm going to put the date. I'm going to go ahead and give that some shading color. And I'll probably need a little more space to be able to sign my name, because I don't sign that tiny. There we go. All right, so I have all of my pieces. I have my authorized signature section and the date. I have a commentary section. I have a grading scale. I have a cumulative summary, summary by grade. Oop, I didn't shrink the print on this one. Let me go ahead and make that one an 8 too. There we go. And then I have the course studies for each of the years. So I'm going to go in real quick here, and I'm just going to add a couple more rows to each of these just to make it look a little more realistic. I'm going to assume maybe 6 classes a year, with the exception of 8th grade, and then I'll show you how we arrange this spacing-wise. Okay, so I've gone back in here, and I've just added a few extra courses into 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Again, just to make it a little more realistic in terms of how many classes you might possibly have on here. Now, here's where you can do some formatting to get it onto one page. Little known fact about Word is that tables don't have to stay where you place them. When you select a table, anywhere on a table, you can see that there is this little like compass point up here. And when you select that, you can move things around. So I could say, take this grade 11 one here, press and hold that, and I can drag it over to somewhere else that I want to place it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this one. I'm just going to kind of line it up with this, put it right about there. Now, I will give you fair warning. You're not going to want to try to get it too close to these, because if you try to put it too close, it can sometimes accidentally like merge the tables together. So I'm just going to make sure I give it plenty of space from that other one there. And then I'm going to bring grade 12 up as well. So once I move those over, I can rearrange everything else kind of where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the grading scale over here under the grade 12. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that up here because that's a little bit of a bigger one. And then I'm going to move commentary up here as well. So again, just select and drag it. And I'm going to do the authorized signature one up there as well. And now I have all of it on one page. So again, you can just continue kind of changing and moving things as you need to. If you need to adjust the size on things, you can go in and you can adjust sizes up and down. You can add in rows to do additional courses. You can type in extra information. I mean, you can really just change it up however you need to, but this is just one way that you could create a transcript. There are lots of different ways you can do one. And if you don't want to create it from scratch yourself, you can always download a template from different websites, or you can pay for a template. There are templates you can purchase on Teacher Pay Teachers and Etsy, and you can fill those in. I just wanted to be able to create something that I could customize myself on Word, and this didn't cost me a penny to do. It just cost me a little bit of my time. And then I'll save this as a template, and then I can make copies of that and fill them in for my different students. So here's a copy of my daughter's transcript. I've taken out in this copy the grades and the GPA to protect her privacy. And I'm not going to show the top, which has our personal information, but it's formatted just like the sample we just made. But just so you can see how the courses are laid out on here. So we did do classes in 8th grade that counted as high school credit. So that's why I have them on here. She did Algebra 1, Geography and Cultures, Health and Personal Finance, those last two being one semester courses, so it was a half credit course. In 9th grade, we had Honors English 9, Geometry, Biology, World History, Physical Education. For this, we were counting all of the work she does for golf and basketball that made up kind of her PE credit. German 1, Music Performance. She used to play the clarinet and take lessons and do all of those things. She stopped after the end of her 9th grade year, but we went ahead and gave her credit for music performance for the time she put into it during that year. We did a half a year psychology course, so half credit there. Biblical apologetics. This is just what I termed our Bible study that we did as a family. We do Bible study every year as a group subject, but we kind of focus on different things each year. We do a variety of kind of themed Bible studies, but then we have something in general that we're really studying hard. And her 9th grade year, we were doing apologetics for the entire year. So that's what I termed the course, even though that also encompasses our devotions. And then you'll see in like the 10th and 11th grade years, I have different topics listed. Then she did a half a year college and career readiness course. So a total of 9 credits for 9th grade. So it was a pretty hefty year for her. And then in 10th grade, she did Honors English 10, Algebra 2, Geometry, U.S. History, German 2. We did Art History. Even though we spread this out over the whole year, we only did it 2 days a week, so I only gave half a credit for it. Bible History, Old Testament, because that was our focus study this past year. And then she did Botany, so 7.5 credits for this year. And then next year, she is going to be taking Honors English 11, Pre-Calculus with Trigonometry, Physics. She'll be doing U.S. Government Econ and Personal Finance. Now, since she's already taken one personal finance course, I termed it as Personal Finance 2. And if you've watched my curriculum choice videos, you'll know that these 3 courses are interwoven. This is the Guest Hollow course that we are doing that intertwines all 3 of these topics, doing a little bit from each day. But I wanted to split them up as far as how I was assigning credit on the transcript. Then we're doing German 3. We're going to be doing Bible history with a focus on the New Testament. We're doing the food science course. This is the Guest Hollow Chem course that we had talked about again in the curriculum choice video. And then she's doing a Western philosophy elective. Now, I've put in some things for 12th grade, even though we're not there yet. One, to just kind of get it spaced on the transcript, so I kind of had a spot started. And also so I could, kind of get an idea on what we might do. Now, when we apply for dual enrollment and we get ready to send that off, I will delete these off of here because she won't have taken anything in 12th grade. And we'll send the transcript with grade 12 left blank. And then we'll fill it in as she does those courses. But we're thinking Honors English 12, Calculus, some sort of science course, German 4, a Bible study, and then some electives. And then you'll see I have our grading scale and other information on there as well. So now here is my son's transcript. You'll notice it's very similar to how my daughter's is set up, with the exception that he took some courses in different years than her. Since we do certain things as part of our group subjects, he was able to earn credit for German 1 and Biblical Apologetics his 8th grade year, while my daughter was in 9th grade. He also took Health and Personal Finance, just like she did, and then he did a co-op course in Logic and earned credit for that. Then in 9th grade, he did honors English. And then you'll notice there are 2 lines for math courses. We use Shorman Math, and Shorman Algebra 1 with integrated geometry, the way they explain it is you earn a full credit for Algebra 1 and a half credit for geometry. And then in 10th grade, he'll take Algebra 2 with integrated geometry, so a full credit for Algebra 2, half credit for geometry. Then we have biology, geography, and cultures, his PE credit, German 2, art history, the psychology elective, Bible history of the Old Testament, and college and career readiness. And then you can see here for 10th grade, it's going to have, we talked about the maths already, he'll have chemistry, world history, German 3, Bible history, New Testament, food science course. This is the same one you saw on my daughter's transcript. This is the guest hollow course. And then he's doing the nutrition and fitness course. And then for 11th grade and 12th grade, I just put some things in just for some spacing. I mean, like we know for sure he'll do English, pre-calculus, physics, and U.S. history and German 4. Like we know these courses, and we'll have some electives and then some rough idea on what we're going to be doing in 12th grade. So the years he's doing some things is different than my daughter's. Again, if I were to send this out for dual enrollment right now, I would take these courses out and just leave the grids blank until he's actually in some courses for those grades. But this does help me in terms of just kind of planning ahead for when we are going to do different things. All right, that wraps things up for today's video. I hope you found this tutorial on homeschool transcripts helpful. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing down below to my channel so you can follow along with our homeschooling through high school journey. Thanks again for joining me today, everybody. Happy homeschooling.